Hello Aries, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business, over 30,000 clients worldwide, and I've got 150 YouTube videos up there as well, Aries, to help everybody who's ready to grow and reach and stretch to become more of who they really are. They're on all aspects of personal and spiritual growth. It's my pleasure, Aries, to welcome you to this particular video where I'm going to look at the movements of the faster moving planets through the houses of your horoscope, and as they do move through, they produce events and conditions in your life. Aries, you're a very powerful person. You've got a lot of ability to commence and start projects and ideas. I'll tell you first a few things about yourself. That's always a lot of fun, to know a little bit about the energies that drive you, astrologically speaking. So you've got a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for your ideas in life. And once I've done your personality analysis, I'm going to then look at the movements of the planets through the houses of your horoscope during 2015. And as they do move through their Aries, they bring about certain conditions and events in your life, what are called transitory influences, that you can change by being forewarned. And I'll tell you the type of events and conditions that you'll experience from these movements, and I'm going to put it all on a timeline for you. So just enjoy the journey here with me, Aries. You know, you've really got a lot of enthusiasm for your ideas in life and the ability to commence and start projects. You're an initiator. You're an initiator, Aries, and I'm not taking into consideration here your age, so you've got to remember that I don't have your birth details in front of me, so therefore it's looking at things from a different perspective depending on your age and so forth. But this is good enough anyway to be able to give you an idea of the type of conditions that I'm portraying here for you. Now, you've got the ability to get things going and to instigate things from your own initiative. You're very security conscious and you'd really love plants and shrubs and the beauties of nature. You love walking around among the plants and shrubs and the beauties of nature. You get a sense of security in your life through the things that you own. And so you like to own nice furnishings and interior decorations and things like that. You use your hands quite a lot in conversation and communication, Aries. Your mind is very restless and goes from one thing to another very readily. And you seem to listen to music quite a lot whilst you're driving. You enjoy that. You probably have twins among your relatives, not necessarily direct relatives, but extended family. You perhaps have a twin there somewhere. Or it could be someone in your neighbourhood as a twin. Now your mind goes from one thing to another very readily, and the way that you express yourself and put your point across, Aries, sometimes is a tremendous sense of duality there within your nature. You've got to think to yourself, which hat am I wearing at this time? It could be to do with your job. You're a different person in the job, for example, and you communicate in a different way connected with your job than in your home environment or your neighbourhood or with your friends or socially and so forth. So you've really got to think about which hat are you wearing at the moment in terms of communication and the way that you put yourself across. Now you're very, very home loving, very family oriented. You like to live near the water, Aries, so at some time in your life you will live near the water. And so this is a lifetime situation that I'm looking at here. Some of these things might be applicable to the past, some might be for the future, and you haven't experienced them yet. You do love to live with family, so that you'll probably, even when you get married and have your own children and everything like that, you'll probably like to have your family close by. So you're a very family-oriented type of person. Now, you like to be the centre of attention in parties and social functions. You're a good organiser on the social side of life. and you're tremendously aware when you're out at social functions and so forth of organising and directing the outflow of the expression of affection and things like that amongst everybody who's there, so that you take charge of a party, or you take charge of the event out at a restaurant or place of amusement. You're the one who allocates the seats and so forth, so you take a position of leadership there, what you might say. You're very self-conscious on the social side of life though. Now you work in a job where you have to pay attention to detail. That's very important to you. So you could work in a clerical job, or you could work in the health related field, or some bookkeeping or something there that really requires a focus upon detail. I'd say that you probably at some time in life do work in the health related field. And you work in a service type of an industry too, so that you like to be of service to the community and so forth through the type of work that you do, Aries. Now your partner in life, or spouse or partner, is very beautiful and attractive person, but they're also very possessive in their nature, Aries, and so they tend to want to own you and control you and so forth, so they can be very manipulative in their possessiveness in certain ways. So that's just a few things about yourself, Aries, and what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to look at the movements of the Sun, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn as they move through the houses of your horoscope. I'll put it on a timeline for you, so that I'll put it on a week-by-week basis, and I'll tell you when a planet moves into a certain location in your horoscope called a house, and the type of events and conditions that will bring about. And those type of events and conditions, Aries, will remain as I portray until I tell you that planet moves into a different house and changes the type of events and conditions that you'll experience. So it's on a timeline over a period of week-by-week basis for you to make it easier to follow, okay? We start off on the in the month of February. 20th of February, the Sun is in the 12th house of your horoscope for 30 days from the 20th of February. Now, with the Sun in the 12th house of your horoscope, there can be a sense of worry and fear and anxiety and doubt and a few insecurities in your life. Now the Sun remains in the 12th house for 30 days, so you can be your own worst enemy, Aries. When the Sun is in the 12th house of your horoscope, you can say and do things which are not in your own best interests. You can have problems with your own self-image, level of self-esteem and self-worth and value and image of yourself. On the 21st of February, Mars moves into the first house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, when Mars is in the first house of your horoscope, Aries, it tends to give you a lot of extra energy and enthusiasm for your own personal initiatives in life, but it does introduce a lot of stress and tension into your life too, so just try and relax a lot more. It can bring headaches and things like that, and try not to be impulsive and assertive and dominant and argumentative, because Mars can give you that sort of a tendency. On the 22nd of February, Venus moves into your first house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks, so that'll make you more loving, more affectionate, more outgoing in your affections. You'll have a love of music, you'll have a love of social activities. Now, it's a very good time for you over the next 2 or 3 weeks to get involved in a relationship if you're in the market for a relationship, Aries. It's very good for you. You'll be very affectionate and outgoing in your affections with those around you. On the 18th of March, Venus moves into the second house of finances, and that brings a boost for you financially, Aries. So the next 2 or 3 weeks is a good time for you. You can expect to make money. You can expect to do well financially. You'll be wanting to spend money, I can assure you. And it's a very good time for you for speculative investments and things like that. Now, on the 21st of March, the Sun moves into the first house of your horoscope, Aries, and remains there for 30 days. With the Sun in the first house of your horoscope, it gives you a lot of extra energy to apply to personal initiatives and interests. You'll be able to commence and start projects with facility. You'll have a lot of extra personality energies there to apply to your own initiatives, okay? On the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, Mars moves into the second house of finances, and you'll be rather impulsive with money for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So just be careful with your money. There can be stresses and tensions focusing through financial decisions and things like that. On the 12th of April, Venus moves into the third house of your horoscope, Aries, and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. With Venus in the third house of your horoscope, it does bring a lot of extra social activities with relatives and neighbours, a great deal of a love of music and artistic and creative expression, and it's a very favourable time for you to do with those in your neighbourhood. 21st of April, the Sun moves into the second house of finances and remains there for 30 days, seeing your personality energies focused upon money and also matters relating to your sense of security, Aries. On the 8th of May, Venus moves into the fourth house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. That brings a great deal of love into the family and the domestic side of life, Aries. So there's a lot more affection for family members, a lot more social activities connected with family. Parents, if they play a prominent part in your life, will be there so much more socially. And with Venus in the fourth house, it's a very good time for you for family gatherings and social functions around the home. On the 12th of May, Mars moves into the third house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. With Mars in the third house of your horoscope, you'll have a tendency to drive too fast, Aries, and you can have accidents on the road as a result. So just be careful and don't be impulsive in speech. There's potential for arguments and conflicts, and you will be rather assertive and dominant in your nature. Then we move to the 22nd of May. The Sun moves into the third house of your horoscope and remains there for 30 days. With the Sun in the third house of your horoscope, Aries, there's a focus upon relatives and neighbours, contracts, agreements, motor vehicles and things that are ruled by the third house. So there's a lot more pleasant social activities there with relatives and neighbours, and you'll be a lot more confident in yourself, in your projection of yourself through speech. Now on the 6th of June, Aries, Venus moves into the fifth house of your horoscope, and if you're in the market for a romance or a love affair, then that's a very good time for you for the next 2 or 3 weeks. It focuses your consciousness socially upon children, if they play a prominent part in your life. Romance, love and the social side of life, you'll have a strong urge to get out to restaurants and places of amusement, and there's very good stars for you to do with love and romance. Very favourable for speculative things and gambling. Now on the 22nd of June, the Sun moves into the fourth house of your horoscope and remains there for 30 days, Aries. With the Sun in the fourth house of your horoscope, your home and your family and the domestic side of life is the focus of your personality drive. So social activities connected with the family, parents and the home environment. On the 25th of June, the Mars moves into the fourth house of your horoscope. With Mars in the fourth house of your horoscope, Aries, there's a tendency to be dominant in the home, danger through fire and boiling water in the home. There's tendencies there to be having conflict with those that you cohabitate with through the family side of things. On the 20th of July, Venus moves into the sixth house of your horoscope for 2 or 3 weeks, Aries. And with Venus in the sixth house of your horoscope, it's a very good time for job interviews if you're in the market for a change in your job. It brings social activities with people that you work with. Love and relationships can spring from the job. And it's very favourable to do with domestic pets. Now on the 23rd of July, Aries, the Sun moves into the fifth house of your horoscope and remains there for 30 days. That sees the focus upon love, romance, social activities, children, and getting out to restaurants and places of amusement and things like that. Now on the 26th of July, Venus goes into a retrograde motion. Now when Venus is retrograde, it impacts negatively upon the houses that Venus rules, Aries, and in your horoscope it rules the second house of finances, so there's a lot of secret worries there until I tell you that it goes direct. There's a lot of secret worries there connected with money matters, bad judgment to do with money and matters and expenditure, and also to do with the 7th house of relationships. So there can be bad judgment in your dealings with your partner if you have one, and social activities generally. So just don't initiate anything there connected with the partner on the social levels. Let them do all the initiating, okay? On the 1st of August, Venus moves into the 5th house of your horoscope, but it's going backwards in a retrograde motion, so it continues to bring negative activities and negative things to do with those houses that I've just mentioned. Now on the 9th of August, Aries, Mars moves into the 5th house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. When Mars is in the 5th house of your horoscope, there can be impulsiveness with love and relationships. You can jump into a hasty relationship based on physical attraction. There can be tensions and conflicts through children, so there can be accidents involving children. Tensions and arguments whilst out on social functions, so just be careful of that. On the 24th of August, the Sun moves into the 6th house of your horoscope, Aries, and remains there for 4 weeks. Now with the Sun in the 6th house of your horoscope for 4 weeks, there seems to be a focus upon the job. Health and dietary matters come to the fore, and matters relating to social activities connected with people that you work with. Now on the 8th of September, Venus starts going direct, and so therefore it's not impacting negatively upon those houses that I mentioned earlier. And with Venus direct, it's in the 5th house of your horoscope. It's a good time then for social activities, romance, love, children, and the social side of life generally it favours. On the 24th of September, the Sun moves into the 7th house of your horoscope, Aries, and remains there for 30 days. With the Sun in the 7th house of your horoscope, there's a focus upon your partner and partnerships. If you don't have one, there's a focus upon forming relationships and strengthening existing relationships. There's a focus upon dealings with the general public and getting out to restaurants and places of amusement and theatres and shopping malls and public parades and things like that for 30 days. On the 26th of September, Aries, Mars moves into the 6th house of your horoscope, introducing a lot of energy there into the work environment where you can have tensions and conflicts and arguments with people that you work with. So just try and calm things down there in that respect. And there can be stresses and tensions also to do with health and dietary matters. Accidents involving domestic pets. You could get scratched by a dog, bitten by a dog, or scratched by a cat, for example. Now on the 9th of October, Aries, Venus moves into the 6th house of your horoscope, bringing social activities connected with people that you work with. A great deal of love and affection there with people that you work with, and it's a happy time for you for a job interview if you're in the market for a change in your job for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now on the 24th of October, Aries, the Sun moves into the 8th house of your horoscope for 4 weeks. It remains there to bring introspection and reflection, and it's the house of change and transformation through that introspection and reflection, Aries. There's the death of somebody around you perhaps in the next 30 days. There's a death of aspects of yourself that you're trying to change and to bring about changes within yourself through that introspection and reflection side of your nature over the following 30 days. Now on the 9th of November, Aries, Venus moves into the 7th house of your horoscope, the house of your partner, That's a very good time for you in your relationship, partnerships, strengthening of ties, social activities with your partner, social activities with the general public involving parades, shopping malls and things like that, and restaurants and places of amusement and theatres. On the 13th of November, Mars moves into the 7th house of your horoscope, Aries, and that can bring a lot of stress and tension over the following 2 or 3 weeks connected with your partner. They can be more aggressive and assertive and dominant in their nature, so just try and keep things a bit cool. On the 23rd of November, the Sun moves into the 9th house of your horoscope. With the Sun in the 9th house of your horoscope, Aries, it focuses your consciousness for 30 days upon expansion, foreign travel, social activities with in-laws, and generally a desire to expand yourself to new horizons through philosophy and study, adult education and travel. Okay, travel might come into your repertoire. On the 6th of December, Aries, Venus moves into the 8th house of your horoscope. If you're female, that will expand your sex drive. It brings benefits financially through your partner. Money can come to you from a deceased estate or an inheritance. And with Venus in the 8th house of your horoscope, there's a love of the mysteries of life connected with the sexual side of your nature. So you could get embroiled in a secret relationship or something like that, based on physical attraction. On the 23rd of December, Aries, the Sun moves into the 10th house of your ambitions, business and career for 30 days. And that's a very good time for you for expanding in business. It's a very good time for social activities with parents. It's a good time for job interviews and seeking promotions and advancement in your career. And the last one we come to is on the 30th of December. Venus moves into the 9th house of your horoscope and remains there for 2 or 3 weeks, Aries. With Venus in the 9th house of your horoscope, there's a focus socially upon in-laws and people from overseas, and it's a very, very good time for you socially through in-laws and also for travel. So if you wanted to travel overseas, that's a very good time for you to do so over the following 2 or 3 weeks. It's a good time socially connected with religious activities and philosophical matters and things like that. Now I'm going to look at the slower moving bodies, which is Jupiter and Saturn for you, Aries. Now Jupiter is retrograde right from the beginning of the project that we're talking about here. From the 1st of February, Jupiter is retrograde and it remains retrograde until the 9th of April. Now when Jupiter is retrograde, it impacts negatively, Aries, upon your 10th house of the career and your ambitions, so it can be a detrimental time with bad judgment. Jupiter rules bad judgment when it's retrograde. So matters relating to your 10th house of career and business, you can have bad judgment in terms of expansion in your career or expansion in business. You can make changes that are not in your own best interest. You can expand in business that is not in your own best interests through bad judgment, okay? Now it also impacts negatively upon the 12th house of your horoscope, and the 12th house is the house of inner change and transformation through introspection and reflection and through solitude. So the best way to get through that cycle is to gravitate towards solitude, introspection and reflection, and letting go of aspects of your nature that you know are not in your own best interest, Aries. Now then on the 9th of April, Jupiter goes direct and it's in the 5th house of your horoscope, and it remains in the 5th house of your horoscope until the 12th of August. So between the 9th of April it's going direct and it's bringing benefit for you through the 5th house of your horoscope. Now the 5th house of your horoscope is the house of romance, love and the social side of life. So it's a good time for you for travel. It's a good time for you for travelling overseas. It's a good time for gambling and speculative investments. It's very favourable for you for the formation of romance, love and social connections. It's a very good time for you for going with children overseas. It's a very good time for you to expect that you'll have a lot of happiness through children. And it's a very good time for you generally to do with love, romance and social activities, okay? Now then on the 12th of August, Aries, Jupiter moves into the 6th house of your horoscope and remains there for the rest of the year. Now that is a boomer of a time for you, Aries. Now it's in the 6th house of your horoscope, which is different for you than it is for all the other signs. So Jupiter in the 6th house of your horoscope for the rest of the year is very favourable for a change in your job. So if you want to make a change in your job, that's a good time for you to do so. You'll just find that the universe is on your side and everything falls into place. The interview will go well and so forth. The person who's interviewing you will take favourably to you, to the way that you put yourself across and so forth. It's very good for health and dietary matters, so that if you wanted to have some surgical activity, then that's a good time for you to do so. It's very favourable for changing diets and improving your diet and committing yourself to a different dietary and exercise regime to improve your health. It's very favourable for you for travel with people that you work with, and very favourable for you to do with domestic pets and all matters relating to health. Now then we go to Saturn for you, Aries. Now Saturn is the taskmaster, okay? Now when Saturn is sitting in a particular area of our horoscope, it's basically saying to us that we must use all energy, time and money connected with that house wisely, economically and in accordance with the law of economy. And if we don't do so, Saturn brings us an awareness to our consciousness of the fact of that misuse. Now Saturn is sitting in the 9th house of your horoscope, so anything to do with travel, anything to do with expansion of your consciousness, there can be obstructions or delays unless it's well thought out and planned. Now Saturn then goes retrograde in your horoscope between March and August. Now when Saturn is going retrograde, it impacts negatively upon the houses that Saturn rules. And in your case it rules the 10th house and the 11th house. So therefore between March and August, Aries, you've got to be very, very careful about decisions and choices that you make for expansion in business, changes in your career, matters relating to friends and the trust that you put into friendships. There can be a broken friendship sometime between March and August with that sort of influence around. There can be sickness or death of a friend. There can be sickness or death of somebody else's child between March and August, okay? And then after August, it starts going direct again, but you've still got to be careful to do with matters related to the 9th house. Travel plans can be obstructed or delayed and things like that. Practical, if you're practical and down to earth, you can really apply yourself to travel, and you can really apply yourself to expansion of your consciousness through adult education, philosophy studies and things like that. And that's as far as I go for you, Aries. Wow, that's a tremendous amount of knowledge that I'm sharing there with you in this particular video. Now, these are transitory influences, Aries. It's important for you to understand that they are influences that come from the transits of the planets through the houses of your horoscope, and because they're transitory, it means that you can change them and they're not fixed events. The fixed events in your life come from what's called progressions. Now the progressions are the movements of the planets after your birth. In the first 100 days after your birth, the movements of the planets set out a preordained events and conditions in your life. In the first 100 days after your birth, The map is set for the first 100 years of your life. So therefore, if you want to look at where the progress planets are at the age of 30 years of age, all you got to do is to look where they were at 30 days after you were born. And what aspects were they forming with the planets in your horoscope at the time that you took your first breath? If you want to look to where the progress planets are when you're 45 years of age, you just look at where they were 45 days after you were born. And this is what we call a roadmap in your life, Aries. Now this roadmap are events and conditions in your life that you have foreordained are going to happen. In other words, they're a roadmap there in your life of the major events that you've planned for yourself in this particular lifetime, Aries. So if you want to look at where you are now in your life, you look at where the progress planets are at this particular time in your life. And I'm prepared to tell you where your progress planets are and what aspects that they form with the planets in your natal horoscope for the next 30 months free of charge. Now that's a wonderful service that I'm offering here, because you won't get that, I don't think, from very many websites that you visit. It's generally the transiting influences that you'll be given by the person who's doing your horoscope for you and doing it free of charge. I'm prepared to do your progressions, and this is not something that's to do with you as an Aries. It's something that's from your individual horoscope, so it's not something that's the same as other Aries, and it's not the same as any other sign. It's something that comes from your individual horoscope, your natal chart, the birth, your first breath at the time that you were born. So I'm prepared to tell you what minor and major influences that you have from your progressions, in other words, what events are going to happen in your life over the next 30 months free of charge, Aries. Now that's a wonderful service for you, okay? So go to my website, submit your birth details, because I need that so that I can do your chart for you. And then we send you your horoscope number 1 free of charge. You can choose to go for horoscope number 2 if you want to. Come to my website, look around what's available there. I've got 12 CDs there for you free of charge that you can download and listen to them with my voice, with beautiful backing music from my first book, What Really Matters, a book on astrology, meditation and reincarnation, the basics. And then there's another 24 CDs available for you from my second book, Coming Home, An Eternal Journey, a book that goes into things on a lot more deeper level. So it's nice to have this opportunity, Aries, to be able to talk with you, and I look forward to working further with you should you decide to submit your birth details through the Your Horoscope page of my website. Thank you.